Hello everyone, this is Darby of RiverBendSurvival again. Today I'm going to start my multi-part series on bushcrafting basics or bushcrafting building blocks. This series is designed for a couple of people. Either people that have no experience in bushcrafting, or people that are curious about it, or people that have been into it for a little bit, dabbling with it, and they want to start getting serious about it. The first thing that you need to figure out when you're talking about bushcrafting is that people apply that term loosely. There are some definite different goals. And the first thing you need to figure out is, what is your goal? Are you actually wanting to get into just straight up bushcrafting? Are you really more interested in survival? Do you want to do period reenactments? Are you really interested in bugging out or making an inch bag and I'm not coming home bag? Are you a camper? Do you do hiking? Are you a day hiker, or do you do something as simple as bird watching? There are parts of this that overlap between all of those. I personally prefer bushcrafting because if you are an experienced bushcrafter with the skills that a bushcrafter has, you can do all the rest. Survival for a bushcrafter is pretty simple. If you get into an emergency situation, which is different than survival. Let me give you an example. You're a hiker, a day hiker, and you wound up getting out too far and you're lost, or you got out too far and it's gotten dark and you're not going to make it back and you need to stay out there overnight. That's just a minor emergency situation that you need to get through. If you're a bushcrafter, you're prepped for that. If you are somebody who's worked on your survival skills, you're ready for that. And there's nothing wrong with a hiker that gets stuck out overnight. It's something you want to avoid, but it happens. The stuff that you should have in your day hike bag, or your hiking kit, or your camping kit, or your day watching bag, or your bird watching bag, survival kits, all those kits are all going to contain some of the same core items. The core items that you're going to be dealing with deal with basic human needs. You're going to need shelter, whether it's from a blazing hot sun, whether it's from rain, whether it's from cold. It doesn't matter. It has to do with your core body temperature. You have to maintain your core body temperature. If it gets too high, you die. If it gets too low, you die. You got to keep it in a happy medium somewhere, or as close to it as you can get. You're going to need water. Depending on your environment, that could be real easy to find, or it could be almost impossible. But I guarantee you, at some point, you're going to need water. Someplace further down the line, you're going to want food. And then even farther down the line from that, you're going to need food. You're going to need knowledge. That's your biggest tool. You're going to need to know what you need, and when I say what you need, what you physically need. And you're going to need to have the knowledge of how to accomplish the task to get you what you physically need. You're going to need equipment. Please don't write in saying you can drop me off in the middle of the Alaskan outback with just the clothes on my back and then come pick me up next year and I'll be fine. That's not realistic. Okay, I have tons of experience. Could I get dropped off somewhere and last a week or 2 weeks or 30 days or something? Probably. Do I want to do that? No. And I'm never going to get myself in a situation like that. It's just not something that I want to do. People that talk about I can make a knife out in the wilderness from stone and sticks. Yeah, if you can find the right materials, you can do it. You're going to expend a ton of energy, a ton of resources, and an amazing amount of time to accomplish that task. And then you've got to use that subpar knife to make the other stuff you need. And while you're making that stuff that's taking you 10 times as long, you're not accomplishing the other things that you need to be dealing with. So you're going to need some equipment. The last thing you're going to need is hope. If you don't have hope, you might as well just sit down. All right, you have to hope that you have the knowledge that you need. You have to hope that you find the materials that you need. You have to hope that you have everything that you want with you, and you have to hope that you're going to get out of there, or that somebody's is looking for you and is going to find you. Without hope, you're done. Now, in bushcrafting, there are some hardships in bushcrafting. If you're going to do just straight bushcrafting, there are some hardships, and those are intentional. The whole goal behind bushcrafting is to do more with less stuff. You don't need 4 knives or 4 cutting tools. You need 1. That's needs. Then you have your wants, and you always have to weigh things versus needs versus wants. I need someplace to sleep. I want a sleeping pad. You know, it's real simple. I need to have something to keep the rain off of me when I'm sleeping, which could be a tarp, or it could be a lean-to that I made out of branches. I want a tent. You have to weigh these things. One kit does not do it all. That's just a fact of life. That list I gave you before, with hiking, with survival, with inch bags, with bug out bags, with bushcrafting bags, there's not one kit that does it all. There's one kit that you can get all of those things done with, but it's not going to do it in the manner that the average person wants to do it. All your basic needs need to be covered. After that, it's just a matter of personal choice. There is no right way to do bushcrafting. There are wrong ways. And I'll give you the perfect example of that. If you want to start a fire, or need to start a fire, and you use the lighter and start the fire, you've accomplished the task. You've done it the right way. If your lighter runs out of fluid, your lighter breaks, your lighter freezes, and you don't get a fire started, you've gone all night, you've done it the wrong way. If your only way of starting a fire is a lighter, and your lighter dies, you've done it the wrong way. Sorry, I got interrupted there. If your only way to start a fire is with a lighter, and your lighter's broken, and you're going without a fire, you've done it the wrong way. It doesn't matter if you start the fire using a lighter, started using matches, started using your fire kit, started using a bow drill. It doesn't matter as long as you get the task done. What does matter is that you have more than one way to do it. And if that more than one way to do it is 2 lighters, and you get a fire started, you've done it the right way. The first night that you spend out there in the dark and it's cold and wet and you can't get a fire started, you're going to know you did it the wrong way. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. People have already done everything that you're getting ready to try to do. That's just a fact of life. There are some people that have come up with some neat ways to remember things. The perfect example of that is the 5 and 10 C's from Dave Canterbury. He didn't invent that. He invented the name for it. And he did some pretty cool things on how the items are referred to, like calling it cordage or a cutting edge. It's a great idea. And he's making a lot of money off of it, and he's getting a lot of credit for stuff, and he deserves it. He did not invent that system. The Iceman had the exact same things, and he did that a couple thousand years ago. Dave came up with a great way to remember it, and he put it into his school and his system, and it's a good system. But like I said, everything you're getting ready to do, somebody else has already done. You're going to hear, sometimes you'll hear people say, well, Nesmith wouldn't have used that. Wrong. He's very clear in his writings that he spent quite a bit of time and money going to get the very best stuff that he could find at the time. He talks about the specific one is the Nesmith hatchet or axe. His friends made fun of him for how much he spent on that and how long it took him to get it. And he had it custom made. So, if Nesmith had titanium pots, he would be using titanium pots. The reason he used tin is because that's the best they had at the time. So don't get hung up on this. The only way to be a bushcrafter is to head out with a knife on your hip and build everything from scratch. That's not the point of it. It'd be nice if you had the skills to do that. It'd be nice to try it, just to see if you own those skills. But it's not the point of bushcrafting. Most of the stuff that you're going to see, matter of fact, just about everything you're going to read about or see, or even on my videos you're going to see, somebody else came up with it. Okay? I'm not some great inventor, and neither is anybody else that you're seeing online. They're taking stuff that somebody else has already done, or they're taking stuff that somebody else has already done and modifying it for their use. And that's perfectly acceptable. But don't try to reinvent everything, okay? It's out there. The stuff is already out there. There are people that can take stuff that's out there and make it better. There's no doubt about that. The people that came up with, I think it was the canteen shop that came up with the canteen with the really wide mouth on it, brilliant. For so long, everybody's been fighting with canteens with the small mouth on it, and they came out with one that has a big mouth on it. That's brilliant. They put two things together. They took the mouth from an Nalgene bottle and incorporated it into a canteen. That's brilliant. And I don't have the wherewithal or the manufacturing or contacts to get something like that done. And I was one of those people that for years and years and years went, why is a canteen bottle top always so small? They fixed it. They didn't invent the canteen, they didn't invent the wide mouth, they put them together and made something different, and that's what part of the enjoyment of bushcrafting is coming up with something that you make your own.